I make work inspired by the geography, the landscape, and the culture of the South Texas-Mexico border where I live and work. Hi, my name is Erika Lamar, and I'm a Texas artist. We will learn to use basic materials to create imagination and observation-based drawings, while also exploring color harmony and composition in this all-level class. I'm so excited to join you as you begin your own artistic practice. So let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to At Your Studio. My name is Kathleen, and I'll be your host for today's class. And we're here with Erika Buenteo, who will be teaching us how to do daily art practice with markers in mixed media. So if you guys could hear us and see us okay, please drop in the chat where you guys are from. How is it there? I know it's scorching hot for some areas. Gosh, how is it where you're at, Erika?
It is scorching hot. You nailed it right there. It is early morning, so we are lucky to have a little bit moderately scorching. I want to say it's probably like 98 degrees, maybe 100 already. Fahrenheit.
Well, that's still like I hope we could still say a great day though. But today really is it is really a great day today because apart from today's class, it's also our artist guest's birthday today. So let's all greet happy birthday. Oh, okay. You guys have one ahead of me. Monkran said happy birthday, Erika.
Thank you, Tristan.
All right. Hi from Canada. Hello from Loretto, Northern Illinois. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Yay, awesome. So today's day is really special. So we're going to go ahead and bond with Erika today. And everything that you'll need for today's class is actually in this PDF, or if you go ahead and scroll down in the description below, that's also there. But I'm going to be dropping the link anyways. And let's see, stick around till the end because it's not only Erika's birthday that's special today, we also have a giveaway. So that's really exciting. So make sure you stick till the end. And we're streaming this class for free at the moment, but once it's done, we'll be taking it down. But you can access it. You can access the recording just for $7. I'll be placing the link in the chat later where you can access it. And it's a great way to support Erika over here and what she does, and treat it as your gift to Erika. Come on, you guys. Just for $7. Like, come on. All right. So enough talking for me and lots of birthday greetings from Erika. Okay. All right. Well, that said, I will be handing the floor to Erika so that she can introduce herself and get us started. So Erika.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited. This is my first time doing a class that is like for the public. I did teach online for quite a while, so I'm moderately familiar with it, but this is my first time doing it. If you don't know me already, my name is Erika Lamar Buenteo. I am a South Texas artist. I make artwork that's inspired by like the geography and the culture, the community of where I live and work every day. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of everything, just kind of playing around. So I hope you'll get your materials together and you will join along with me. There is a reference photo in there too, so in the description, so you can print that out or open it up in another tab so that way you can try to do the drawings with us. You can also obviously do the drawing on your own sometime later. I'm going to kind of go over everything today, but you'll be able to watch the video probably a little bit more polished than this on Etcher later on. So I think what we're going to do today is going to be a sketchbook spread. If you're familiar with my work, you know that I post my sketchbook spreads on a pretty regular basis, and I create these spreads of imagery. I get a lot of questions asking, well, like, what do you draw and how do you know what to draw? I'm going to kind of walk you through that today. You'll see a variety of different ways to approach sketchbook spreads and learn about how you can make them personal and inviting for your own process and your own practice. So I think like this is going to be a little bit of information on how to get started on your own daily practice, or it doesn't even have to be daily, your own artistic practice. So I think we're looking at right now, This is the sketchbook spread that we're going to be going over today. And this is basically what I make. So you'll see a sketchbook spread. When I refer to that, I'm really just talking about these 2 pages. And it is, really easy to start one. Oftentimes, I think we think that sketchbooks are more tailored for, practicing, like drawing, like maybe I don't know how to draw a pose, so I might just sketch it out in my sketchbook. But I like to approach my sketchbook in a way that feels like it's playful and I get to engage with colors and composition in a way that gives me practice every day. So this is a sketchbook spread. We got 2 pages here. Open up your sketchbook and you have 2 pages that are empty. We draw across both of those. You can see that on the right side, I have a drawing of these poppies that I took a photo of. That is a reference photo that you're going to find in the description of the class. This is another sketchbook spread that I've made, and I started with some peaches, a photo of some peaches on a table. And I drew that. That one's actually with alcohol markers. Learned a lesson on that one. And then on the other page, you'll see that I kind of did what I just call it, like, image association. I think about things that are related to my image or things that I respond to with colors, and I bring that into the second page. So I thought about doing a landscape. I found a photo, and I just did a little doodle of that landscape there. On this other sketchbook spread, you're going to see that I started out with this idea to draw this little orange. And so I just kind of like sketched it in, but that inspired me to put in some pattern. I love incorporating pattern into my work. So I kind of kept a consistent color scheme and just played with those colors. This spread right here was inspired by a trip to a botanical garden. And I use masking tape to make these little boxes so that way it kind of breaks up the space a little bit and makes it a little bit more manageable, especially if you're feeling kind of intimidated by the wide open space of the page. So again, the images on the right side of this spread are just related to things that I saw and experienced at that garden. So coming back to the poppies, I wanted to talk a little bit about how the poppies will be your kind of entry into this kind of practice if you want to try it. This is, a great way to incorporate some everyday drawing. Sometimes it will be great and sometimes it won't, and that's okay. We're going to be using these Tombow markers, or that's what I'm using right now, but I feel like these are very similar to any kind of like grocery store marker. It's a water-based marker. They're transparent or translucent, and you can layer them and create really interesting effects. So I chose 4 colors from 2 families. I have these reds and I have these greens. And what's key to know here is I tried to get a light, a dark, and then 2 kind of in the middle. So you're going to see here, that's what I have. That's why I have 4. So I have these 4 markers for each color. And I also have these acrylic markers that I'm going to use for smaller spaces, little moments where I want to really bring out a bright spot. These are Posca and Montana markers, and you're going to see that they lay on top of the water-based markers in a way that looks opaque and still kind of, holds up on its own. That's why I like these acrylic markers. You can put them on top of something else, and even though it's a light color like white, it will, white is not a color, but technically it stands on top of it and it will be visible. So it doesn't just kind of like melt into the water-based markers. And that's what I like about using them. I'm also going to use a little bit of masking tape. So if you are using regular masking tape, just make sure it's not super sticky. You might want to stick it on something first. Painter's tape is great, or artist tape if you have that drafting tape. I will often reuse old tape just because it will be less sticky. I also like to use these Tombow Furenosuke markers. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but that's what it says on there. So I like these. They're waterproof. They are super fine tip. They're really beautiful to draw with. I love them. Really easy to find. Look online. They're beautiful. So these are my go-to pens. So I have all my materials, and if you gather your materials, of course, you want like something to draw on. So I'm going to also use this sketchbook the sketchbook I'm using is the Archer and Olive. I want to say it's 160 GSM. So it means that the paper is pretty thick. It's very smooth. It has a dot grid on it. So there is a little bit of a grid. It's hard to see in this video, but it is a great sketchbook. It's got smooth paper, great for markers. If you don't have a sketchbook, use paper. And then when you feel ready to get one, get one. I recommend you look for something like a drawing pad versus a sketchbook. You can see the back of my pages don't have any bleed through of the marker, but I did have, in my sketchbook right now, there are many pages that have bleed through, especially when I use alcohol markers. So I like this sketchbook. I use this one quite a bit. But I mean, everybody has their preference on paper. Use whatever you have. And whenever you're ready to try different papers, I recommend, feeling the papers and determining whether that would be something that you could use for something like water-based markers that layer quite a bit. Okay, now we're going to kind of get into the drawing stage. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about these markers and how they work. Again, these are Tombow water-based markers. They are pretty transparent. I have my 4 colors for each of them. I recommend you use whatever markers you have. I've used Crayola markers. I've used highlighters. I have Mr. Sketch markers. I like all of these because they are transparent and I can layer them. These are also, of course, water-based markers. So they're going to saturate your paper. And that's going to be something that as we go through this class, I want you to be really aware of, because it's really easy to destroy your paper if you are adding too much marker as you go through it. So we've got these different markers. I have 4 of each of 2 color families, and I'm going to create a little swatch sheet. I always love doing a page like this in my sketchbook so I can practice with my media. I can see what my colors look like. Sometimes the caps don't really match the color. And I can kind of organize them. Right now I'm swatching all of these colors and I'm trying to organize them based on value. So value is the lightness or darkness of black or color. And every color has a value, which means that it can be light or it can be dark. In this case, the yellowish color and the orange are my lightest colors, and my darkest are that kind of like brownish color and that dark green. I put some sort of like name of colors on my materials list, but they're just numbered. So I'm going to go ahead and I like to list the numbers. That way I know very easily and I don't make a mistake. I know which color is which. So I'm labeling all of my swatches, and I don't know. I feel like I really enjoy this part of like practicing. Some people don't. I know that some people just want to get straight into the drawing, but I love to kind of like experiment with my media, play with it, and learn about it. So at this point, I really want to kind of make sense of which values are which, and I number them. So of course, you can have lots of values. There's like a lot of values. In my classroom, we usually talk about like at least 8 values. Here we have 4 values. So the very first one I'm going to name value 1, and then the second one is value 2, 3, and 4. These are just different values, which means that they get progressively darker. Every color has a value. We can have multiple colors that have the 1 value and multiple that have value number 4. So we're just looking at these colors and organizing them so we know which is which. So all of these colors are kind of labeled, and I have, again, 2 families of colors, and each of them has a light, each of them has a dark, and then 2 mediums in between there. So I'm not going to swatch the white, obviously, because they're not really going to show up on this paper, but these are going to be, this page is what I'm going to primarily use for swatching. Now, a little bit about these markers. They have 2 tips. They have a brush tip and a fine tip, or I call it like a pen tip. The pen tip is really nice for very fine lines. It's pretty hard, so it allows you to create like a really fine, clean line. You don't have a lot of variety of stroke with that because it really just makes like 2. But that is the fine tip or the pen tip. Now, the brush tip is the one that I use all the time. I don't even use a pen tip ever, but the brush tip you can see comes to a point, and if you use it very gently on the tip, you're going to get a really fine line. And I find that if you kind of like change the angle of the pen, so if you use it like perfectly perpendicular to the page, you're going to get a really fine line. But as you increase the angle, you can create a broader stroke. So you'll see this creates a broad stroke, and then even broader than that, wider, bolder lines. I love that about the brush. I also love that it feels super organic. So it doesn't feel like really crisp and clean. I love to make calligraphic lines like this one right here, where it goes from thick to thin in one single stroke. And that's really possible with those brush tips. Use whichever one you like. Brush tip can be really good for filling in areas too.